Hello, hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer Show, where we talk about all things home and healing. I'm sorry I'm late today. It just couldn't be helped. I had a bunch of stuff I had to do this morning with clients, and well, you know, it's what it is. But I had some deadlines that were there, and I had to go to the upholsterer, and it just sometimes you think things are going to take like 15 minutes and they end up taking half an hour. And that was kind of today. In fact, coming on the way home, I get to my exit from the freeway, and guess what? It's closed. Like, okay, what's this? So I had to go to the next exit and turn around and come back. And it's just kind of been one of those days. But I did get to go into a house today that people talk about watching paint dry is boring, but that's because they don't know what they're doing when they're watching paint dry. Oh my gosh. So I'm working on this house that had to be remediated from the fires. They had a bunch of smoke damage. So part of that is they're getting everything painted. And I got to pick out colors for them and a few other things, but the painters are there today. Oh my gosh. And went in. The house looks so beautiful. It's so, so beautiful. I'm going to post some pictures on my Facebook. I don't know if I can, well, I have to text Mark the things. Next week, I'll have the pictures to Mark and we can go through the beginning, the middle, and mostly the end. I won't have the end pictures yet, but mostly the end. So anyway, the house, it was just kind of boring and beige and blah. And they didn't like it when they moved in even. But now it's a happy, inviting house, and it's so beautiful. I got goosebumps. I tell you, I got goosebumps. Even the painters are like, wow, this is amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know. And the painters, I've been in a lot of houses when they got painted, and there's painters and there's painters. But these guys love what they do, and it shows. The amount of care they're putting into the job, you can feel it. You can feel it. I think that's why you go to some restaurants and it's like, eh. And you go to some restaurants and you're like, wow, this is really good food. We used to have a favorite restaurant years ago, and there was one in Burbank. It doesn't matter where that means, it's a different city. So we used to go to the one in Burbank all the time, and they had this orecchiette. It's ear pasta and this ginger lemon sauce. Oh my gosh. We used to, take turns who got to get the orecchiette, and we'd always share, but we used to, so you getting the orecchiette or am I getting the orecchiette? But we knew that was on the menu. Whatever we were getting else, we were getting orecchiette. And it was just absolutely divine. Well, the restaurant had a place in Pasadena, about 20 minutes away from each other. Yeah. So that one had this big green wall. And green is not supposed to be a good color for your food, especially this color green. It can make your food taste bad. So you got to be careful when you use green in a dining room, in a kitchen, wherever you're eating, because it can actually affect it. And this is a terrible color green. And oh my gosh, it's been there for like 20 years. They're still in business. The one in Burbank is gone. So it hasn't affected them. I'm happy for them. But I think they do a lot more business if they didn't have this ugly green wall. They didn't ask the Color Whisperer. So what do I know, right? Anyway, we got the same dish there, and it was just blah. It really was. And we were sitting by the green wall, and I was like, this green wall thing is true. And I went there more recently, and yeah, it still is just kind of blah. They've got a good reputation, but I think their food would be so much better if they would just paint the wall color. I actually met somebody who worked there, who was a bartender there, and I kind of planted a bug in their ear, like, hey, y'all need to do this. They don't care. I guess if it ain't broken after 20 years, who cares, right? So, but after 20 years, they should want something different anyway. My opinion. But it's also in how do the people work? And that's the hard thing when you have a company and hiring people is you got to hire people with the same level of passion for the job that you have. And that's really hard to find because as the owner, nobody's got more passion than you do. But finding people who take pride in their work, that's really important. So, anyway, that was my morning. And yeah, the house is just really beautiful. It's a little house, but it feels so much bigger now and so much brighter and happier. And I sent pictures to the owner after I left today and she hasn't answered me back, but I hope she loves it as much as I do. Because it's really, really stunning. So can you tell I love my work? I get so excited about it. So today is going to be Q&A. And so I got a couple emails from people who saw last week's show and we asked for emails. So that's very exciting. And Mark, if you have any, you can bring them in. And remember, again, I can't read the print. It's like size 0.2. It's like 2-point size text. So these eyes are not going to read that. So if somebody does come in with questions, please come in and interrupt. So the question I got was from an old client who happened to be watching and was excited to see me. He hadn't seen me in a while. And he's like, oh, hey, Jeanette, this is Scott. Remember me? I helped him with his setting up his apartment after his divorce. And, he was going to just go around to some thrift stores and buy some stuff and put it together. And I was like, that's not what you need. You need to make this a special time for you. You need to honor yourself. I said, do you have money you could buy some furniture? He said, I have a little bit. And I said, okay, well, let's make your house a home. So that's exactly what we did. We got a few pieces of furniture. We got some drapes for him. And, furniture placement is such a big deal. And that was something he didn't know where to put his furniture. And, to me, it was obvious. But, that's what I do, right? So he was like, well, what do we do with this? And what do we do with that? And, and I'm like, well, here, we got this. And he came to me afterwards and he was like, oh my gosh, Jeanette, my house feels like home. This is so wonderful. I mean, it was an apartment. He's living in an apartment now and he was missing his house. And, he got to keep some of the furniture. He had to replace some of the furniture with some really cheap stuff. We got him a nice bed, but I got all the pictures hung up and we made it homey. It made such a difference in his healing. So anyway, he says that he got a new table. Yay! Very exciting news. And the dining table we had to get for him was just something, very, very cheap. And it was functional, but it wasn't what he wanted. And now he's got something he wants. So see, not all the time does a transformation happen overnight. It doesn't. But we got to make sure that, hey, this can be, right? You take it in steps you can afford. So he's got a table, but he says, Jeanette, he's just got a little apartment. He says, I need to sit in there with the kids and eat. And there's this echo. What do I do with this echo? I don't I didn't notice it before so bad, but now with a new table, it's really bad. And I don't know what to do. And so I asked him a few questions about, so my questions for him are, what is it made out of? Is it wood? Is it metal? And the thing is, it's all about echo. Let me see if I can fix this camera. I feel like I just got, all you're seeing is my head. Well, that's not nice. Okay. Sees it a little better. That's worse. Let me get up a little bit. How about that? That feels better. All right. So, it's so much fun being short. Anyway, so he says, how do I get rid of this echo in this room? It's not in any other room. Well, a lot of times in dining rooms, you have a lot of hard scapes, hard materials. And so wood, metal, and the walls, they're all going to reflect noise. So this is a really interesting thing that's happened in restaurants I've seen over the last several years. Restaurants use color to keep you in the restaurant or get you out. And there's certain colors that are meant to make you leave quickly. So orange and red is a popular combination in fast food places and in diners because they don't want you hanging out for a long time. Notice the coffee shops are never going to be that color. Coffee shops are going to be, there might be some orange, but it's going to be pumpkin. There might be some red, but it's going to be a berry. And it's not going to be in huge quantities. They're going to be in smaller quantities. You're going to see greens. You're going to see purples. You're going to see golds. All of those say, stay here and hang out. So, but what they started doing several years ago is depending less on color and more on noise. And all of a sudden, all the chairs, you didn't have these soft, cushy chairs with cushions on them. No, they were hard chairs. They're metal chairs. And part of that is, okay, if you're not comfortable, you're not going to hang out for a long time, right? So it's a comfort thing. But changing all the surfaces to be hard surfaces is going to create this echo. It gives the illusion that there's a lot more people there and that it's busier, which is going to go, oh yeah, I'm in the hip happening spot, right? Everybody's here. I'm where everybody's at, and also there's a subconscious thing that says, oh, there's people waiting for the table, so I'm not going to hang out. So they've really gone towards noise to make that happen. And so my suggestions to this guy is, let's put some fabric in there. So how would we do that? Well, one thing you can do is you can put cushions on the chair. If the chair is wood or metal, you can put some cushions on the chair, and that will help absorb noise. Putting some, I know he has pictures on the wall, so that's not going to, I know what the pictures are, so that's not going to help a lot. There's a window, we can add some window treatments. That would help a lot. Anything soft we can get in there. Even doing something like throwing a beanbag chair in a corner. I mean, okay, it's not great design, but it will soften the noise. And, if that's what needs to be done, even doing something like putting a beanbag chair under the table, maybe get a couple poof things, like, the what are they called? The little poof balls that you put your feet on, and then you can stretch out your legs. So those are a couple ways to do it. You could get some chair covers, would be another way to get some fabric in there. You can get chair covers pretty inexpensively. and they have a lot. They're stretchy. They even have. I mean, there's a lot of different places you could go. You could go to like a rent. There's eFavor Mart, and they do things for shows, rentals, stuff like that. So you could get, and their spandex actually look really nice, and got a whole bunch of colors. Oh my goodness! So it doesn't have to be something really frilly or fussy. It can be something very modern looking. And that'd be a great way to add some color too, is just by putting a chair cover on the chairs. And it's easy to wash. And you throw them in the wash, kids mess them up, who cares? And they're pretty cheap. I don't know, maybe they're $20-$30. I don't know. I was looking at other things. I was looking at table covers, and I think that was $30. So I think a chair would be cheaper. But, just kind of think outside the box a little bit. What else can we do? There's, I know you can get chair covers in other places too. Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond. They're still online. They haven't gone out all the way. We still have Bed Bath & Beyond, but it's just not in the stores anymore, which kind of sucks. That's definitely a store I miss. But, if we're not buying stuff in the stores, we can't blame the stores for going out of business and not being there. And every time you buy something online, there's a store that didn't get the order. So it's convenient, and we're making a decision that affects us long term as well. I hope we never lose all of our stores. I don't want to do online shopping. There's something nice about just going out and shopping, and sometimes you just got to try stuff on. I've got difficult feet to fit. And, buying 10 pair of shoes and then hopefully something fits. I mean, it's just not practical. Having them order and then I got to return them, and even free returns is still your time going back and forth. And I've got to be in a wedding coming up soon. Next weekend or the weekend after? I think it's not this coming weekend, next weekend. It was so cute. So every time I've told this story, people laugh, and I laugh too. The bride says, "Oh, I don't want you doing anything special for the wedding dress. I don't want you spending a lot of money for the bridesmaid's dress, not the wedding dress." And she says, "I don't care what you wear, as long as it's lavender or purple." And I just laughed. I said, "You do realize I have to buy something. There's nothing in my closet lavender or purple. Y'all know how I am about color, and it's a big deal for me. And purple's not one of my colors. And oh dear God, lavender is not my color." So
you're gonna be hanging out with Prince?
Even hanging out with Prince, I ain't wearing purple.
No purple for you.
No purple for me. So anyway, I had to go back, and so there's not that many bridesmaid stores out there. The choices aren't, because the online stuff has taken over the market. They can't compete. And so I had to buy a dress and it didn't fit. I send it back. I bought another dress. It didn't fit. I send it back. I think I went through 10 dresses before I finally found one that I felt remotely comfortable in.
Well, I found out about 2 online places for my dilemma, which I told you about, which is that I have to find a white outfit for the beginning or the early part of May for that concert that I'm going to be part of. So I was looking at Temu, haven't seen what they've got and everything, and then somebody told me to look at Poshmark. So apparently Poshmark also has some discount stuff as well.
Be good. Poshmark would be really good.
Cool. So I'll look into Poshmark because somebody recommended Poshmark to me. So I know Temu is Chinese owned, but I'll check out Poshmark as well. I'm not sure who they are, where they are out of, but I'll check them because I got to find a white outfit, white pants, and the whole 9 yards. I think I even got to have white shoes. So we'll see if we can't find me a white outfit.
Oh my! And you have you tried going to some thrift stores?
There's a thrift store near me, so I'm actually going to look at that. I might even do that this weekend. I know we've got a couple of projects over at the cultural center that I work at, but I definitely should be able to go. If not this weekend, definitely over the early part of next week, because there's one that is called the Nearly New Shop. I think it was run, if I remember correctly, by the fine folks over at Duke Hospital. It might even give some part of their money to the Duke nurses or the incoming nurses, if I remember correctly. And then there's one called I told you about it, Everything But Granny's Panties, but that's a little bit further away at everything in terms of where it's located, because that's closer to, I think, one of our other shopping centers, Northgate. But there are a couple of thrift stores I know that Nearly New is near me, and I think the Duke Surplus is near me as well. So
you may want to even look at Amazon. I found a bridesmaid's dress for like $50, and there was a lot of them. Now, unfortunately, it had to be hemmed, which now made it not, it took away the it's no longer inexpensive, but the hemming cost almost as much as the dress.
Wow.
So, but you might want to try Amazon. They might have something there that
no,
I don't know what kind of budget you have for it, but if you found a jacket for $40, that would be worth it.
That would definitely be worth it. And by the way, speaking of worth it and everything along those lines, I was checking out some of our figures and everything along those lines, and I saw that some of the shows, because you have to have over 100 views in order for you to get statistics, but I actually was curious about some of the countries, and I saw that on Pod TV and even on some of your shows, we were having people watching from foreign countries, because I saw Nigeria, I saw Ghana, I saw Spain, and I saw I think the Netherlands. So we do have some people, because you can analyze where the people are watching it from and all along those lines. So definitely the gender, because we found out that we had a tremendous amount of guy watchers, but yeah,
a lot of guys watching. Yeah, yes. I was very curious about that. So I'm not exactly Bob Vila,
Not exactly Bob Vila, but you got this popularity.
And I'm not one of Tim the Toolman. Remember Tim the Toolman had the sexy girl that was doing. Do you remember her name? I don't remember her name, but they had a sexy girl on who was doing all the bring me a tool kind of this. She did some work on the show. So
yeah, I'm trying to remember her name and everything, but yeah, I remember some of those things you're talking about. But yeah, they give you insight. So I was just glad to know that we have people watching from different countries. So we do have folks that are watching from various countries and all along those lines. So that is great news that they're not just from the United States, because I did see California, of course, North Carolina, and other places represented. But then I was like, hey, we've got folks that are from other parts of the world. Isn't this amazing?
Oh, I'm having camera issues today.
You're doing what?
I feel like a Cabbage Patch Kid. I just like all you're seeing is my head.
Not the Cabbage Patch Kids. Are you feeling like the Cabbage Patch Kid?
When my sister was 2 years old, and we were building a
and even add 2 inches.
I'm sorry, the thing is doing weird things now, but I've turned it off. But you were saying your sister what?
We're building a trapeze bar in the front yard, and so we're digging a hole for it. And she was about 2 years old, and it was about 2 feet deep. So it was about, if she stood in the hole, it looked like just her head was above the ground. And she looked like a Cabbage Patch Kid. and she was adopted. So we're like, oh, we take this picture and this will be her origin picture. Where did I come from? Oh, you're a Cabbage Patch Kid. We grew you in the yard.
You grew in the yard. She was a Cabbage Patch Kid. I do remember the Cabbage Patches. I never had one and everything like that, but I do remember the Cabbage Patches. It looked like, and
we were too old for Cabbage Patch Kids. We were too old for that.
Well, apparently you've got watchers in a war-torn area, because I see United States on one of these videos that I sent out. I'm also seeing Spain and Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we've got folks watching.
What was that last one?
I probably mispronounced it, but it's part of Bosnia. It's Herzegovina.
Well, you're doing a better job than I wouldn't know how to pronounce it.
But apparently, we've also got watchers in Minneapolis. So you have friends in Minneapolis and in Dallas. And
I'm going to send you some sunshine because y'all need it.
Yes. We need it. So we got listeners over there that were watching from Dallas, Texas, and from some other areas as well. Because it gave me, like I said, some. If you click one of the nice little arrow buttons, and I know that you can't click them because the arrow buttons are small and all along those lines. But if you click them, they will break down from, and not just say the United States, but it will break down the states. And I think it'll even do that for the countries as well. So if there's more than one city, then they'll break down the cities as well. So yeah, like I said, when I clicked on the one of ours that had over 100, I was going like, wow, that's the people over there in Jacksonville that are watching. I'm gonna see where the ones are from this one because that's got over 100 too and everything. So let's go to more insights and see where these fine folks are in terms of their views and in terms of men and women. This one was more, it's starting to even up. It's 63% male, 32% females, 4% people that consider themselves others, and a nice even break in the age range because it goes from 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, and 55 plus. And the most is the 55 plus crowd, but we got a decent amount of 45 to 54, and we even got a decent amount of 18 to 24. But yeah, that's the one that had some folks in Spain watching. So we got folks in Spain watching the show as well. So if you're watching and you got questions for Jeanette, let her know, and I'm sure she'll be more than willing to answer the questions and help you get your house in order, literally and figuratively and everything. So
absolutely, you can email me, you can write into the show, you can email me at design@thecolorwhisperer.com. Send me pictures, we'll put them up. I think I'll have pictures of this house I did today that I was at. I'll have pictures for you next week, and we can see the before, during, and after. It's so exciting.
It's exciting. We got people even watching today because I'm seeing on the little arrows that there are people watching because they keep popping in on Twitch and other places. So if they're watching and they
on Twitch, what's Twitch?
Twitch is like, it's more of a gaming outlet, but it's similar to Twitter. You'll hear a lot of gamers use Twitch, but we do air on that. But there are podcasters that are on it as well. But it is very popular in the gaming community. But it's Twitch, like you Twitch, like a twitch of a arm and everything. But it's social media outlet is very popular in the gaming community.
Cool.
Yeah, so
very cool.
You said you had 2 letters. What was the other letter?
The other letter. So the other letter is no, I said there was a couple issues with him.
Oh, a couple issues. I thought you said
no.
Okay, I got you. No, that's good. We're gonna get more and more because people are watching and they're commenting regularly. But I thought she said 2 people. That was my fault. I misheard you. It's not the first time that somebody.
If I did, I might have missaid something too. So
it could have been either one of our faults. But who knows?
It was good. It was exciting to hear from Scott, and he's still happy in his place, and he's continuing to make improvements. So that was kind of exciting.
That was exciting. Does he have a Cabbage Patch in his house?
I don't think so.
Does he have a teddy bear in his house?
I don't think so. He's got a bunch of boys, and he definitely doesn't have one. And I don't think his children are all boys, and they are over the age of dolls. So I would be highly surprised if he had a Cabbage Patch. What was your other question?
No, this is my other question, and it actually comes down to having boys and everything. Because I remember my brother, there was a time that the big giant blow-up dolls were very popular. They had a name, but it would be like the blow-up doll or blow-up picture of like a famous football player and everything like that, or something along those lines. And there was a nickname for them. I can't remember. It might have been called Fatheads or something like that, but I can't remember what they were called. My brother actually had one of I think it was.
They were life size?
They were almost life size. They were like big wall posters and everything like that. And it was
a poster?
It was like a poster, but they were giant posters. They would cover like the door and everything like that. But they were very popular, I would say, in the.
So there's no air in them. I think that's where I got confused. Okay, that's where I got confused.
Right.
Yeah, they had back in the 80s, 90s, they were doing those cardboard cutouts, and you can still get them.
Right.
And Yeah, those are kind of fun.
But I guess the question I was
Depends
going
on
to the question I was
what's
going to ask
important
you, I
to you.
remember my brother had, I think it was Bob Uecker, one of the famous Chicago Bears and everything like that. That was stuck on one of the main doors. But I also remember there was a time, because you mentioned that Scott had boys, that it was very popular for boys to have like these posters, whether they were the cutout girls or whether they were their sports heroes or whatever. So as I only have my nephews and I haven't looked at their room recently and everything, is
You
that
probably
still
don't want to.
popular thing? Is that still a popular thing where people are doing the whole design of their rooms when you go into houses, because you are a design person and everything, that you're finding the kids' rooms has got like those, like the old cutouts. Like back in the day, would have been Farrah Fawcett, or it would have been Pam Grier, or it would have been a number of others, and then definitely they might have a picture of, say, Joe Namath, if they were, or Michael Jordan if they were into sports. And then the movie posters, are those still something that you see in the boys' rooms more than the girls' rooms?
I don't get a lot of kids' rooms. I
Okay.
really don't. It's not something that I mean, boys will be boys, girls will be girls. I mean,
Right.
the magazines are still out there. Teen Beat's still out there. They're still selling this stuff. They go to Torrid now and Spencer. I mean, these people are still selling all the same stuff we bought when we were kids. It's just got different people on it. So, I'm gonna say yes. And
Okay.
part of being a teenager is a little bit of that rebellion
Right.
and putting the walls who it's part of imagining who you're going to be.
Right.
It is. And I remember my neighbor, oh my gosh, I went in his they had his son, the son was like 16 maybe 18. I was little, I don't remember. And I walked in his room and it was like, yeah, it was Farrah Fawcett in the bathing suit and all over the place, and I was like, whoa. And my mother, when I got to be 12 years old, she redid my whole bedroom for me. We found this beautiful, really beautiful scene wallpaper. It was wallpaper and it was this gorgeous garden. Um, Kind of like the other one that we do with the lake.
Right.
And then there was wallpaper of trees all around, and I got new furniture. And so I wasn't putting stuff up on that. It
Okay.
was too pretty. It was too new. So, when I got into my high school stage, I put a couple pictures on the inside of my closet. But, I was still even a designer back then. I'm like, I'm not putting something on this gorgeous wallpaper. Like, it doesn't, it's going to look really stupid to have Duran Duran sitting in a tree. I mean, like, I'm not doing that. So, anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. Seriously. Speaking of designs and all along those lines, when I was growing up, because I told you I had one, and unfortunately I went tumbling from it as well. But do people still have bunk beds, and are bunk beds still as popular for kids as they used to be, and everything like that? Because I remember that used to be a thing where you would have one kid up top, because it was me, and everything, and the other kid would be at the bottom. And like I said, I still toss and turn sometimes, but I was really tossing and turning. And I think I tossed and turned and went, because falling down and hit the floor. Fortunately, it wasn't a big fall, because I think the bunk bed was only uh probably as tall as I am now, so maybe about five,
I
maybe a little
see.
bit taller. Yeah, like 5 feet tall or something like that. So it wasn't too bad of a fall. And I think I landed on I remember landed on the floor. As a matter of fact, I remember landed on the floor looking up, because I think Malik was on my brother on the bottom bunk. I think I looked up, saw that he hadn't woken up, saw that I was all right, and went right back to sleep. So it was a quick fall. And I was like, I don't think I want to go back up there because I might fall again. I'll just sleep down here.
Well, I don't think bunk beds are going anywhere. Scott actually does have bunk beds. He's got 3 boys, and
Okay.
the only way they could fit stuff in there was to put 3, do the bunk beds. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been enough room. Fortunately, it's a pretty good size room, and so he did have some flexibility. But you know what? You've got a lot of kids. My house, oh my gosh, we had somebody knock on the door and they'd been in my house. They'd lived in my house years before. And I got 1,200 square feet. And this person told me that at one point 10 people lived here. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I would kill somebody if 10 people lived in this house. They're like, and it's very obvious they had bunk beds in the bedroom. So I really only have 2 bedrooms. The room that you're in, that you see right now, is my office, but apparently this used to be a bedroom. But even with, it's not very big. It's like 9 by 9. You put in 2 bunk beds and a dresser, and it's full. And although I've crammed a lot of furniture in here. I have, but it's all very strategic. And you really,
Speaking of
you
strategic,
couldn't put, I don't know where you would put 10 people in this house, and you would constantly be, and there's 2 bathrooms, so that's a lot of people for 2 bathrooms. It
yeah.
really,
I
yeah.
think the most we had at the house that Mom bought for me and Malik, and it was a small house, like guess it would be considered like a ranch style house, because it had a living room, dining room, the kitchen. Those were the 3 rooms in the front of the house before they converted it into a duplex. Then it was 3 rooms, 2 bedrooms, and 1 room that fluctuated and everything, and then a bath and a half and a hallway and everything. And even, yeah, because Malik, the master bedroom had a little bathroom, and then there was a smaller bathroom, so that was the half bath and everything. I don't think that one had a shower. I think the one back, well, maybe it did. That was so many years ago, I don't remember, and everything. But the quick question I had for you, Jeanette, and everything, is, because I know we did it when we had that house. When you've done house designs, how hard is it to convert a room from one thing to another? Because I want to say that one of our rooms used to be the guest room, and then before Malik bought the house, Mom helped Malik buy the house that he's in now, he kind of converted it into an office space. And I remember that was, like I said, maybe getting rid of a bedroom and putting in some office furniture and everything. But how often do you find yourself converting a room from what it was originally to something else, like an office?
Yeah, well, a lot of that's just furniture. And, I've got one client I've redone several times, almost every room in her house. Keep giving her idea. Oh, I don't want it to be this now. I want it to be this. She she changes her mind every 6 months, which is great for me. But, like, when you have kids, you need a kids room, and then it becomes a guest room. I went to a potential client's home yesterday, and they want a dancing room. They've got carpet. You can't dance on carpet. You're going to get yourself hurt. And they already got knee issues. So they want to create a dancing room. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
I like the idea of a dancing room. If I ever get a house, I might get a dancing room as well. I do remember when I was on the board of Mallarmé or Symphony. It was one of those. I think it was Mallarmé. There were some people that had kind of like a sitting room. They were using it like for the piano concerts and stuff like that. So it was like more of a sitting room for small concerts, because I think they had like a little piano in that room and everything like that. So I remember that. And even one of my my mom's longest time ex, outside of dad and everything that I'm aware of, he had like a what amounted to a game room. So he had like different games that were
life changes. I mean,
Right.
You got to change with your life. When you've got kids, you've got kids. You don't have kids, you don't have kids. It's time for you to make it a fun room for you, whatever that means for you. That's fun. It's got to be fun for you. And there's no point. I mean, some people leave the kids' room exactly as it is, and maybe their house is big enough and they can leave it as an homage to the child. But I went off to college and my room was done like that. I was like, Mom's like, I had the room that was close to the bathroom. She's like, no, somebody's got to be in there. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I got shoved out to the back room, and I wasn't there that often. It didn't matter. But it's like life changes, and people come and people go, and our interests change, our hobbies change, and we've got to adjust to whatever those changes are.
Yeah, definitely have to adjust. I actually thought about getting one even in this apartment, but if I ever was in a bigger house, I think I would have a game room, and in that game room would probably be, because I even thought about getting one just for my own sake, because I do have some board games here at the house, and I showed you the Germ Monopoly and everything, but I've also got some other ones. But I used to love playing both foosball and air hockey. So I think that I would have a room that would have both of those in there. Maybe the big desktop version, or maybe the more.
They actually have dining tables that you lift up the top, and then there's an assortment of games underneath, so you can choose. I mean, you can do that for a lot of things. Probably you're not going to get a pool table in there, but I just saw one the other day. It has a cover, so it can work as your dining table. You can take it off, and it's got discs instead of balls. And you just flick the discs. It's smaller, much smaller than a pool table.
Right.
But there's Monopoly, there's chess, there's so you can have your game. You're not playing with it. You just put the lid back on. Okay, fine. You can stop and then start again, because Monopoly takes forever.
Oh yeah.
And so you can have a game room and just make it your dining room. One of my clients did that. Actually, he loves playing diplomacy role, those Dungeons and Dragons. Right. He loves playing all that stuff. So that's what he's got. He's got a game table, and it's in a space that gets multi-use, and the top of the table comes off, and he's got his game, so they can have the same game going for months. But when it's not in play, they've got the top of it on, and they have a dining table, an office table, whatever they need.
When you were thinking about dining tables, and now we don't always do Easter as a family gathering. We definitely do the later ones over Thanksgiving and sometimes Christmas and everything. But when you were saying that, I was thinking about one of the things at Mom's house, which she loves and which we sometimes have to use and change in order to make it more effective. But Mom has, I think they're called sectionals, but they're like the tables that expand and everything like that. So they become bigger depending on how many guests you have and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I knew that.
She doesn't need a table for 10 all the time.
Right.
It's just her in the house otherwise, or maybe there's somebody else. I don't know. But
no, it's just her in the house.
Yeah. So she doesn't need a table for 10 all the time. That's just going to make her feel lonely.
Right.
But to have a table for 4 or 6, and then when you all come out, then she can fit everybody. It's nice.
Yeah, she likes that sectional. And like I said, she pulls it out and we pull out the sections, and then people can sit around it, like you said. But it's definitely, I think that's the term. Are they called sectionals? I forgot what.
Sectional is usually a sofa.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Maybe
I forgot the name of it, but there's a name. There's a name for those tables that have the parts that slide out and everything. And I could be wrong with the name. I forget what they're called.
Well, the parts are usually called extensions.
Right.
But the table is a table.
Okay. It doesn't have a name for the type of table? I thought it did, but I could be wrong.
With extensions or not extensions. I'm not familiar with something else.
I'm looking it up right now and everything. That's the wonderful thing about the lovely power of the internet and everything like that. But I know that I want to say it was inherited from Grandma, if I remember correctly, because she's had that for a while. I know she's got that big glass case from Grandma and all along those lines. But definitely, but like I said, I had to ask her the next time that I talk to her, because you're right. When I'm looking up sectionals and everything, it is usually coming up as the sofas and everything's like that. But I do know that it's like those dinner tables that have the no, they say sectional table. So, but because sectional dining sets, but I'm not sure if that's. But
that might be an East Coast thing too. You guys have divans over there. We don't have divans over here.
What are they called?
Well, it's an old word too. My grandmother was from Boston, and so she had a divan in her house. We have a couch. In California, we don't have divans. Back east, y'all have divans. We don't have them.
Yeah, we know we got different things other than that y'all don't have there in that area and all along those lines. So yeah, we do have different things like that thing and all along those lines. Yeah, but I'm trying to think.
Hey, my tummy's rumbling. I think we should go.
Oh, we get ready to go because it's time for you to. It's time for can do spices and everything like that. Like I said, I'm actually ready to go.
Email me, please. We want to answer your questions. That's what we're here for. Let's talk about your house and let's make
talk about the house and everything like that. So, and I'm gonna actually got a great call Mom shortly.
Email me at design@thecolorwhisperer.com. You can email Mark at bluesradio@gmail.com. And we want to hear from you. So thank you for listening, and can't wait to hear your questions.
Looking forward to the questions. And if anybody knows the name of that table that has different sections, I'm going to ask Mom. And if anybody else knows about it, let folks know, because now I'm curious, but I know it's got a name. So I'm ready to get on out of here, and I'm going to find out from Mom the name of that. But if y'all are watching it in the South, please tell me the name of that, and we'll get ready to get out of here with some Can Do spices.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends, so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can Do Spice a try.